After weeks of anticipation, I finally got it. My Luna invite. Now, after my first full day with the platform, here's how I feel. C, Stadia gamers' initial impressions of Amazon Luna. Let's get into it.
Stay sick cause I follow my gut. They say I was pushing my luck. I'ma push me a matte all black truck. Oh, I'm not sorry.
What's up, people? What's up, people? What's up, people? It is your boy MM2K back again with another episode of the Stadia Dosage. A special one at that. Amazon Luna raids the Stadia Dosage. But before we get too deep into all that, do me a huge favor, y'all. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, rock those bells for notifications, please, so you know when your boy's dropping these doses. I appreciate all of y'all straight up. Y'all know the deal, y'all know the reason, and y'all know the slogan. I am not too proud to ask. Let's get into it. All right, so here's the deal, y'all. I got a hold of Stadia Luna. I got a hold of Amazon Luna. Come on, this is supposed to be Amazon Raid Stadia now. You gotta put down your Stadia fanboy hat just for a moment, MM2K. All right, let me just place it right here. All right, so here's the deal, y'all. Got a hold of Amazon Luna, and I was happy to play Luna. I wanted to give the platform a fair shake. I mean, even though I enjoy Stadia the most out of all of the other cloud experiences that I've had, and I appreciate GFN, you know what I'm saying, particularly next to Stadia. I'm waiting for Shadow's price to drop and all of this stuff. I still love the advent of cloud gaming excelling because of the low barrier to entry. I mean, why just play one? You know, I mean, my favorite can be Stadia, your favorite can be Luna, don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Why you can enjoy all of these great services once they hit their peak, right? So I was happy to get my code. The code came, and I remember Project Storm had let me know that the codes were coming. You know what I'm saying? Because we were talking about this, and we finally, derived that the codes were coming regionally. And me and him were both like on the East Coast. So when he got his email, I knew mine's came. But, Storm beat me to the punch. 4K Storm, he beat me to the punch. He hopped on, played some Luna. He had his own impressions that he, you know what I'm saying? He wants to flesh out a little bit more. We're going to do that tomorrow on SSC Podcast. Definitely tune to this channel for that. But he had his feelings, and he was excited about playing Luna because he was like, man, this is dope. I'm having a great experience. Here's the things that you want to do, MM2K, blah, da, 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 right? And so then I said, I was excited too. So then I tried it. And here are the results that I got. Here's what I think overall of the platform. Now there definitely are pros and cons, and I'm going to go over the pros and cons, and then I'm going to give you my final thoughts. So as far as the pros are concerned, first and foremost, its use with third-party controllers is uncanny. I mean, I will say this, again, with no cap. This is the no cap zone. I've always noticed more latency on Stadia with the Xbox controller than I did, you know what I'm saying, with any other controller. PlayStation is great. Of course, the best is the Stadia controller. But when I connected my Xbox controller to Luna, it was like it was a 1v1 match. As a matter of fact, the Xbox controller on Luna was performing better on Luna than it was on the Xbox. You know what I'm saying? It was, I don't know how they worked this magic. It was uncanny, right? And latency really is not a problem. I hear this consistently with everybody that's tried Luna. Like, they're shocked, and I was surprised too, that the latency was not a problem, because we heard a lot about, it's Stadia's built on Linux. Amazon is based off of Win86 architecture. Linux is so much more noticeably less, filled with less latency than the Win86 architecture. And I can say that, you notice a slight difference, But, you know, is it horrible? No, I was surprised at how good it was and very close to Stadia, right? Another pro is the in-game PC-esque options are nice for them to be there. You know what I'm saying? And you can really enhance the textures with that more so than you can do on Stadia, because Stadia really doesn't let you do that. They set the textures and they match it to the overall resolution and the frame rate and all that other stuff, and they balance all that stuff out themselves. Luna, because it is the Win86 architecture, lets you go in and try those PC options and balance it out yourself, okay? And then as far as another having the Ubisoft Plus channel first is a benefit to see how the cloud version of the service's accessibility, what that's going to be like. Look, you know, I mean, again, no cap zone, y'all. There's no denying that it kind of was like a slight kick in the teeth to hear all this talk with Ubisoft and Stadia, for Amazon Luna to get access to Ubisoft Plus, formerly Uplay Plus, first. You know what I'm saying? And then you get to try out the accessibility options of anything as far as, like, what is it going to be like, you know, what connecting your account, and trying to access the games, your in-game items and stuff like that. You get a taste of that, of how it's going to be first with Ubisoft. They came through first with that. You can't, hey, look, man, you can't, you know, you got to give credit where credit is due. Okay. However, that's where my pros end. Now we're going to get into the cons. Despite all that, I think that these cons are very staunch, and we really need to focus and talk about these. The cons are, this platform suffered, in my experience, from bad ghosting and blurriness. Actually, it was worse than GFN. GFN has this thing where some games it works great. You know what I'm saying? Like Destiny 2 and Rogue Company, it looks great. And other games, not so much, like Ghost Recon Breakpoint, you know what I'm saying, and Remnant from the Ashes, and Fallout 76. Oh my God, that's horrible on the platform. You know what I'm saying? It's hit or miss with them. With Luna, in my experience, every single game had this ghosting, blurriness problem, right? Even Wired, and I'll get into that in a little bit too. Another con is to hit the 60 frames per second. The sacrifice in visuals is too much. And it pretty much makes the options that I put as a pro, you know what I'm saying? It's really they're really a tease, because you want to tinker with this thing and squeeze the most juice out of it as you can, and you're never going to get what you expect. Seeing ultra high settings, volumetric fog, whatever the hell the settings are in the game, you're never really going to get that. I will, again, setting them, you'll get some great textures. Like, man, I got Division 2 on Luna to look better than Division 2 on Stadia. But here's the problem. It looked better when I didn't move the character. As soon as I moved the character around, I was moving at like 10 frames a second. The only way for me to get 60 frames per second was for me to drop it down to like medium settings. And in a lot of these games, medium and high settings are muddy as heck. They don't look good. I will say this, that when you do bump the resolution up to 4K, it will look good on high settings. 4K high looks good, but there's a problem with that. I'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, in order to hit 60 frames per second, you are sacrificing too much. And it makes the options, the in-game options that come with it being a PC port, a tease. And the next thing is the access load times can be longer than consoles. I mean, there's times that I literally sat there for 3 minutes after saying, this is the game I want to play, Luna. I sat there for 3 minutes and nothing happened. I thought the thing froze, so I would constantly reboot it. You'll see me, I got a live stream of me trying Division 2 and Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and you'll see where I'm talking to you guys, but I think that the game had froze. It didn't freeze. The game was accessing the server. Where I was going to go access the server, and because one time it had happened, I said, "Oh crap, this thing went to go freeze again." I went to the bathroom, came back in a couple minutes, and I was at the load screen. I was like, "Oh crap, I didn't realize it was still loading." That's crazy. The load times can be longer than consoles. The hardware, that kind of defeats the purpose, right, of the whole convenience part. But that's not the worst of it. The worst of it is that the issues manifest even worse. All the things that I've talked about, they're even worse on the Fire Cube. Now, I haven't tried this on the Fire Stick. I'm hearing that people aren't having these issues on the Fire Stick. But here's my problem with that. The Fire Cube, what you really don't need to get great fidelity and stuff like that, you don't need it for the talk and, to talk to whatever Amazon's voice activation thing is. You don't need that because you can get that from the new Fire Sticks. The purpose of this box was to render, better video resolution and all this other stuff. It's a powerful piece of machinery for, something that's Android based. And that's why I bought it, and I paid a pretty penny for it. And I bought it mainly, I bought it first and foremost for Luna, but I said maybe I'll be able to test these other gaming services on there too. But even though I wasn't able to do it because Amazon made sure that they locked them out, you know what I'm saying, of the UI, and you can't access these other gaming services. I said, okay, well, at least when Luna comes out, I'll be able to benefit from this hardware. And no, everything that I talked about, that was a problem. That was a problem on the PC client. I have a very powerful PC. I have a 3070 video card. I got an i7 processor, 8700 I think it is. I'm dealing with 16 gigs of RAM. My PC is up there, right? So it's running off of a client. It's not all pie in the sky. It's running off of a client like GFN. So it is based upon some of your PC power because there's a client that you have to install and run the stuff from. That being said, okay, I understand that it's running a little bit better on my PC because of those factors. But again, when you go to its most powerful piece of hardware, the Fire Cube TV, it runs even worse there. So I'm asking, what was the point of me even buying the Fire Cube? What was the point of the Fire Cube TV? Period. And I just, if it can't even better utilize Luna there. So again, my experience was not great with this at all. And it kind of makes me feel that maybe right now, to approach this, when gamers approach this or try this, think of this as a beta, purely as a beta, right? If you do that, even though they're saying it's early access, if you do that, then you won't go into it with the expectation as of, oh, okay, this is something that could supplement or replace my Stadia experience. It's not there yet. I'm not saying it won't get there. It has a lot of potential, but it's not there yet. With that being said, even if you do tamper your expectations, because even though Amazon did say this is early access, I still think they oversold this experience a bit as far as, like, again, a comparable retail option compared to its competitors. If you base it even up against GFN, it's a version of GFN that has better controls response, but it has worse fidelity. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really think that it has worse fidelity and it has worse overall consistent performance. You know what I'm saying? I just don't know if Amazon, even though they say this is early access and give this, and they limit it, I think a lot of the videos that you see, even though they're infrequent, even the one where they're talking about, well, somebody asked a question and they got wrong how Stadia works, and they said, well, we don't do that here. I think a competitive tone, Amazon needs to back off from that competitive tone altogether, and their communication should basically be, hey, look, we got this, we're utilizing the great experience of cloud technology. Check out what we got. Help us build the platform, and you get to experience us build this platform along the way. I think it should be straight from a beta type of conversation, kind of like what GFN did. GFN wasn't talking about, well, we better than this and we better than that when they were in their beta stages. They basically said, hey, look, we got new tech. This new tech is uncanny in a lot of ways. Here, come and enjoy it with us. While you enjoy it with us, you'll get an opportunity to try out this new tech with some great games. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the way they should sell it. Let the competitive tone be put, locked away for a better time, because when you start talking competitively, that makes people feel that overall you have, and even though you might be missing the mark on some points, that overall you got a better product than A, B, or C. And right now, with this inconsistency, I don't feel Amazon can say that. I don't think they're better than anybody right now with the total offering. But it's not going to stay that way. First and foremost, they cap off the data that you're allowed to use at the 1080p realm. So I still think it's impressive that you can still get like 4K quality textures and resolution off the 1080p data. So once they uncap that and get that together, it might be even better. It might blow your socks off then, but that's not right now. You know what I'm saying? And Amazon's not one to sleep on. They may not be there yet, but give them some time. I think they'll be there. But again, I do think that they're somewhat overselling this by having any ambiance of a competitive tone. They need to back away from that. But with all that said, if they address the consistencies along with the visuals, this could be a monster. It's not over for Amazon Luna. It's just that it's not at a competitive state right now. Definitely something worth tinkering with. A lot of potential. Could blow the socks off once they get these things together, but from my experience, not there quite yet. I know people have had better experience, but that's it. For the simple fact that that's the underlying consistency problem. If you can't get the same experience that I get, and my experience is great, you have a consistency issue. And again, this is a beta, alpha, whatever you want to call it. Let them work out the kinks, and when they're ready, then I would have a competitive tone. But with that said, I'm happy to have it. I'm gonna still tinker around with it and see what I come across. And with that said, that's it from your boy, MM2K. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below, because like I always say, who cares what I think? But if you did like what I had to say, check out the links below to follow me. Those links will lead you to the Broadband Bullies, PNTS Network, Hard Knock Digital Culture, and yes, the Stadia Dosage. With all that said, you guys and gals have a wonderful, wonderful gaming day. Peace.